Hey friends, this is Christopher davis-shannon. Over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to show you how to play Brazilian samba Cavaquinho rhythms on ukulele utilizing the right hand techniques of George Formby. Now before we dive into the material, I do owe y'all a little bit of an explanation because some of the words I just said are probably not familiar to at least some of you. So the first thing is, well, what's a cavaquinho? The cavaquinho is the Brazilian sister of the ukulele. They both come from the lineage of the Portuguese instrument, the machete, which was brought with Portuguese as they explored and colonized the world. And with that, the instrument evolved differently given the music of each culture that it was introduced to. In Hawaii, we get these nice soft sounds of the ukulele, where in Brazil, with choro and samba music, we needed a much more powerful sound. So the cavaquinho has a larger body, steel strings, and is played with a pick. But even more importantly is that it's a linearly tuned instrument. It's tuned more like a guitar. It's tuned D, G, B, D, which is an open G major chord. But the thing is that D is this D on the 5th fret of our ukulele, which means that we're going to be working predominantly with chord voicings up here to help capture that brighter sound of the cavaquinho. Now there's the second question. Who's George Formby? George Formby was an entertainer, musician, and most importantly, a banjo ukulele player in the UK from the 30s up until about the 70s or so, and was really world-renowned for his right-hand technique. Now I'm going to link here to a video series that I did on Formby style playing, as well as the book that I wrote on how to play George Formby style solos, but they sound a little bit something like this. So we have this fun right-hand technique that displaces the accents, gives us this syncopated feel, and something that always grabbed me about Formby's playing is that these split stroke patterns, as they're called, are heavily based around clave rhythms, which are what's used in Brazilian music and Cuban music and a host of other styles of music. Now, whether this is intentional or not, I have no idea, but it means that these split stroke patterns can lend themselves to being very beneficial for playing these Brazilian samba rhythms on this instrument. So let's look at how to do it. Now I should stress right off the bat that what I'm going to show you in this lesson is just one bit of the samba rhythm. There are so many variations on this, and Brazilian rhythms are very intricate and multi-layered devices that we use in music, but this is a good starting point to just get your feet wet in the style. So the first thing we need to do is just learn the rhythm. Let's put our instruments down and let's clap this. Now the key here is that many of these notes that we're going to accentuate are going to fall off of the beat, off of the pulse. And it's going to sound something like this, nice and slow. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat the pulse like this, just 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you can hear where this doesn't line up. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you'll note that this is a 2-measure rhythm that we're doing, and this is going to be important once we add chords in here. But let's clap this together and try your best to articulate out loud the rhythm that we're going to be applying to the instrument. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Very good. Once you're feeling comfortable with that, let's look at how to apply that rhythm to the instrument. Now this week we are keeping it basic. We are going to use all down strums. We're going to add in all the fun stuff, the muting and the up strums next week. But you need to be comfortable with this basic rhythm first, and honestly, this will get you by without all the fancy stuff. So all we're going to do is we're going to play all down strums on this, and this is where George Formby comes in. So we noted in the rhythm section of this that many of these strums do not fall on the beat on our pulse. And the way that Formby would do this with downstrokes, because normally we would play it like this if we saw the rhythm. We play down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down. But when Formby would play, he would do these groupings of 2 downstrokes over top of 8th note patterns, which allowed him to displace these accents and give the syncopation to it. And that's the same thing we're going to be doing here, as well as how Cavaquinho players playing with a pick address this rhythm with these quick downstrokes on 8th notes. So we get down, 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 down. Da, 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 da. Let's try that together nice and slowly, and try your best to just say the rhythm out loud while you're doing it to help internalize this better. No chords yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now get comfortable with this, much as you did with the clapping, before you try to add chords over top of this. This needs to be just like the island strum is for most uke players. A nice, easy thing that we're not thinking about at all, because the left hand ain't gonna be easy. What I've done is arranged Antonio Carlos Jobim's Danco Samba for ukulele using these Cavaquinho chords as well as rhythmic patterns so we can best cop the sound of that instrument on here. We're going to be starting out on a C6th chord, 5, 7, 5, 7. So we want to use these high voicings to get the brightness of tone. So let's try our basic rhythm that we were just doing over top of this C6th chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now for our next chord change, we're going to go to an F9, which is going to be a very similar chord. We're only changing 1 note. It's going to be 5, 7, 5, 6, adding this E flat. But the issue here is that each of these chords is only sustained for 4 beats, or 1 measure, but we're playing a 2-measure rhythmic pattern. So that gives us the question of, well, when do we actually change chords? Because we don't play on the downbeat, on beat 1 of the 2nd measure of this rhythm. We change on the end of 4, the last strum in the 1st measure. So it sounds like this. I'm going to do it nice and slowly so you can capture this. So it's going to be... Listen to that one more time. 2, 3, 4. So what we're doing is anticipating the chord change by an 8th note, which is coincidentally something that George Formby also did quite a bit in his playing. So let's cycle this rhythmic pattern with this chord change in here for a moment so we can feel this, because there's going to be a few times in this song that we have to change on the end of 4 and not on the downbeat. We want to get used to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to C6th. One more time. Good, now let's look at the rest of the chords in this song. So we're going to go next to a D9 chord, 5, 6, 5, 7. And we're going to sustain this one for 2 measures, so we get our full rhythmic pattern over top of this. And then we go to a D minor 9, just 1 chord different, 5, 5, 5, 7. You might play this as an F major 7th before, but in this context, we're going to call it a D minor 9. This is only going to be a half measure again, and then we're going to go, a half of the rhythmic pattern, I'm sorry, and then we're going to go to a G7th, sharp 5 open, 5, 7, 6, that D sharp up top. One of my favorite chords. We're going to go D minor 9 to G7, sharp 5. And again, that's going to change over our rhythmic pattern. We'll be changing the G7 sharp 5 on the end of 4. And then resolve to C6th again. and back to our F9. That's our turnaround. So I'm gonna play this entire pattern nice and slowly for you. I'll count it in so you can play along. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we repeat that. Take this slow and get this rhythm precise. This is dance music. The rhythm matters more than anything else. Next week, we're going to add in the left hand muting and some upstrokes to really get the full groove for this type of music. We'll also be adding in the B section of the song with a few new chord voicings in here. If you'd like a printable worksheet to go along with this, just hit join down on YouTube or join me over on Patreon, and I have a printable sheet breaking down these rhythms as well as all of the chord voicings. I'll see y'all next week.